Hi everyone, Mature Simmer. So back here in September on the farm. So I'm gonna go ahead and it was raining overnight, but luckily it stopped. I think we're good. I want to go ahead and get the fields harvested, or at least one of them. But there's really not a reason I shouldn't be able to do both. I'm not sure. I think the harvester is here somewhere. There it is. So let me get up here, get set up. Whoops. Be helpful if I opened all the doors again, as I had talked about. Wait a minute, why is this? There's got to be a way to open. Do I have to be outside? You would think there'd be multiple doors, but it appears that's not the case. That doesn't make any sense. Alright, so what I've discovered is basically it opens, like you can open one door at a time, which is a little foolish, but it is what it is. So let me get this out, and then I'll change the door config, and I'll go get the header. See how those open over the other ones, and then these opened back into that. So you basically have to do one thing at a time, which is okay, I suppose. It's just a very interesting design. But I suppose it gives you nice wide open doorways that way where you couldn't otherwise. Alright, so just gonna swing a little wide here, because I think that's gonna be my best option. And we should actually be fine, because I've got wheat and canola. I'm guessing we're gonna see some sprouting on the field. Yep, they're green. So fields 8 and 9 are in fact already doing their thing. I think I'm going to park this here. And then we'll circle around and get ourselves with a header. And just to make it simple, even though I don't need the wheat right away, although I think we may go ahead and get some chickens to get egg production going, because I don't know how long it's going to take us to get 7,000 liters of eggs, but it's going to take us less time if the chickens start early. So I guess I can just go ahead and get myself set up down at the end here. So I'm going to cut a headland for sure. Half tempted to leave the oops. Alright, gotta unfold the harvester. Now I'm half tempted to leave the harvester out here later, because I don't know that it really helps having it tucked away on the farm. But I'm gonna go ahead, make sure I have the straw swath out, because I've got a baler and stuff. Like, why wouldn't I go ahead and bale things? Alright, there we go. There's our straw. Because I think this can sit here for a bit if we need to. Oh yeah, it looks like with the precision farming, our yield is showing up down below. Now keep in mind, these fields were not prepped properly. So, you know, there's a bit more. Just trying to get this straw swath spread nicely. Not too bulky, but good enough here. So they weren't fertilized and so forth, so we're kind of in that lower range, it looks like, because it's actually showing up as orange. Which is obviously not what we'd prefer, but you know, we weren't here to get this in the field, so I'm not sure who planted this for us, but it's always nice to have a crop to work with right away, so I'm certainly thankful that it's here. I can hide that help menu so that we get a better visual of what I'm doing. So I've got my GPS set, so we're heading up here. Sorry, I had my microphone muted for a moment and forgot to turn it on, so hopefully you enjoyed the harvester just moving around for a bit. So what I was saying is I'm going to have to obviously figure out where my silo is. I think it's up by where those other pieces of equipment we saw on the map were. So that's the most logical place to look, because I've kind of been everywhere else other than by the other cow barn, but I know that has just got an outside shed. There's no silo there. So I want to be able to turn around appropriately on both ends of the field, so I'm going to cut a headland up here. Now this New Holland's also a pretty tiny harvester from a capacity standpoint, but you know, I think it'll serve the purposes of what we need. I'm just trying to not make it too complex to pick up this straw. I also need to be careful that I don't pick up other crop. It looks like it was being nice to me there. Because otherwise we'll just gum up and spoil the rest of the crop. But yeah, because the wheat is needed later and it's also needed for the chickens, at this point I'm not going to plan on selling it. I'm going to be hanging out onto it for those purposes. But the fun thing, and we'll see if we can get to it today, you know, because we've already been spending an hour since we got up here out on the out doing this work. The fun thing is we might be able to get our first VIP order filled today, though. So if I can do that, that would be most excellent. Alright, so at this point this should go a bit quicker, because now I'm lined up here, and now I've got headlands on both ends, and I can just go ahead and harvest this wheat until, of course, I get full. So yeah, I'll move along, and once I'm full, we'll come back here and, you know, just kind of go look for the silo together. It's taken me a little bit longer because I've honestly been having an issue with the GPS and the width that it's set. For whatever reason, I kept having a little bit left, so I manually adjusted the width down about 1 meter. We'll see if that works any better, but we're full here. You can see how that looks, so let's go find ourselves. I'm going to turn this off because I don't know how long it'll take, but let's go find ourselves a trailer and then get stuff maybe to the silo. So I've got the trailer that was sitting here that we got the seeds with. I believe this is pretty much an all-purpose trailer. I don't see another one except a forage wagon. So, and if I've got a place to put just general straw, I'm gonna have to take a look once we find the silo if it'll store that. Because if I do choose to then do things for cows or whatever, that'll be better because I can then put it in a TMR mixer and things like that. So I'm guessing the capacity of this trailer should be substantially larger. Now again, it won't unload without me having the harvester on, so let me turn it back on. There we go. So this probably won't fill, so actually I'll probably go ahead and harvest this field further. So yeah, we're down to 4,000. I don't think we're anywhere near half full. We don't even have the bottom full yet. We may not even cover the bottom by the time we get the full harvester load in here. But basically it's about 9,000 liters, it looks like. It's kind of what we're stopped at. Let's go forward. Fold that back so I don't have any issues hitting trees or anything like that. So I will keep going along with this field. I'm thinking I can get it done because obviously I had also done all the headlands. I guess I'll keep you along with me. We'll see how the GPS works with the turnaround, because literally it was every time I turned around I in essence had one little row of wheat left. And first I thought I just wasn't giving myself enough room to turn, but I made darn sure at one point that I was straight and still had the problems I did. So it is not the fact that I'm not straight. So we'll play this game here, but we can see it does seem to align better. So the auto width for this particular header, for some reason, is just not accurate. So it's a little bit of a pain. I'll have to keep that in mind every time I harvest, but we can make do. People had to manually pick things before. I'm looking at the map and how we've got like a little notch at the bottom there. It almost looks like I left some, but visually back there it does not. So in any event, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to finish this field. So I'll see you at the end, and then we'll finally go look for a silo. This actually is working pretty well. It looks like I'm going to get this field done perfectly. Unless, of course, there's a little bit of a hitch somewhere, which there may be, but right now I'm not leaving any stalks of wheat. Well, it's getting a little wider here. We may lose it. So I may have to come back and do a little bit of cleanup. But other than that, right now, I couldn't have measured it out better if I tried. So, pretty nice. Definitely good to see. So go ahead and extend my pipe. Alright, up here at the tractor. So yeah, 9,250 liters is what we ended up, and as you can see, it's not even a quarter full. So if I had a couple of these fields with the same crop, I'd still be okay. But yeah, it's nice to see our barley and sorghum growing away. But yeah, we should be up there. I think we were only about 50% full, so we may only get 14,000 liters. I did not actually pay attention, but see where we end up here. Pleasantly past 15, but just barely. Alright, so head out this way. That'll work perfectly fine. And then, as I said, you can see on the mini-map we've got a bit of we've got some equipment right at that north end, like at the top of the mini-map. So I think that's where I'm going to guess my silo is. I believe this is just going to take me... actually, I think that is where I do need to go to get to it, because the driveway in the back just gets me to my house. So I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to hope it's correct. If not, I'll live and learn, right? But no, it looks like it goes straight there. So here is the cow barn area. So again, we've got a tractor and a baler. I think I'm going to bale the straw, perhaps, because I think I can still feed them. I don't know. I guess I'll have to see if I can figure out if our silo stores it or not. But yeah, we've got some stuff up here. Obviously a little bit of work, but yeah, it looks like we've got that wheel loader and telehandler are up here. And there, sure enough, is a silo. And a silage pit. And some more storage. And, you know, again, a giant shed for more storage. So, storage abounds on this farm, that's for sure. So, let me get on the pit here. There we go. Overload that wheat. First stuff that we're putting in the silo. You can see the duty hours of the tractor. 26.8. Clearly we didn't do that much before. So obviously that's kind of what my uncle had used. Alright, so I took a look at the controls on this silo. It does not, in fact, store any straw, so I cannot put it here. I don't know where else, you know, short of dumping it straight into my cow barns, what I could do. So I'm thinking I just hold on to it, and then we'll worry about it later. So I'll make it into some bales, and then figure out what to do with that. But again, my focus right now is on harvesting. I'm going to leave that straw there for now. That is not a top priority. That can be for another day if it needs to be. The goal was get the wheat done and get the other crop done. And the other thing now we do know is we get 15,000 liters of wheat off this one field, so that helps too. So you can see our pH was okay, but our nitrogen is literally 0. So at this point, I'm going to head over here, and we're going to harvest our canola, which is quite exciting. So, put the pipe away again, otherwise, like I said, I'm going to create a problem. So, canola does not give us straw, so it's just going to disperse that as it is. These fields are, you know, pretty nicely done here. Definitely maximize the ability to get stuff done. Oh, there's a road that... oh no, there isn't. I thought there was a road that went up there. I'm like, where does that go? Well, maybe it does. I don't know. Maybe worth checking out. It's gotta be with something smaller than a harvester, that's for sure. Alright, well, I don't have access to this land. Surprise, surprise. We are at the edge of our property. Back here, and I'm just not sure as far as yield, because these fields are really close in size, I believe, at least visually they are. I suppose we do have the precision farming measure of hectares. I did look that up, by the way. It's a little over 2.5 times to acres is the conversion. So basically these 1 point, you know, 1 hectare fields would be like a 2 to 3 acre field. So I think a lot of these were over 1 hectare. Some of them were like 1.6. So we've definitely got, you know, plenty of field space here. 20, 30 acres, certainly, especially if I add in the grass fields. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to not just go up and cut the headland up there, we'll harvest our way up there, which makes sense. And then we'll get clear over there by the hedgerow as well. Alright, well that didn't work as I had planned, so let me back that up. The field obviously got a little wider. So let me move things. It looks like I'm moved over. That's a bit interesting, but clearly it disagrees because it's not harvesting. But yeah, the best I can think is maybe there's a bit of an edge because these are kind of wide ends of the harvester. Oh boy, it's still moved over more. This is a very not straight field, so these are one of these things that it may end up bothering me overall later, where I decide to try to straighten it out with a plow, but wow, it's still doing it. There's another step up there. So let's move over one more time. And, you know, it's all workable that way, but at this point I think it does look like it finishes there, so I think we'll be good. But yeah, this one is not as straight as the other one, which again is perfectly fine. It's just something that's got to be dealt with unless we want to just leave crop and plow it under, or, you know, cultivate it under when we get ready to plant next time, which shouldn't be too far away. Obviously we want to keep things producing. We want to get our VIP orders filled. They're certainly looking for other crops. But no, the thing that's important to know is if, yes, I'm only getting like 15,000 off the field of wheat, we'll see what I get with canola, because I would say this looks like the yield is lower than what we had with the wheat, which I think is normal, if I remember. I think wheat is pretty prolific in its yield potential. But, you know, we've got 37,000 and 29,000 of some of the other crops, so we may end up basically planting these fields with barley and sorghum as well to get us enough to meet our order demand. So that's kind of what I'm talking about how servicing these VIPs definitely has a different effect in how you would do things, because otherwise I just kind of determine what crops were profitable, what crops I enjoyed doing, for example, and I just work my farm that way is kind of what I've always done in the past. And at this point, obviously, unless I just want to wait forever and not take advantage of the VIP orders, which, well, then what's the point of having those relationships if I do that? You know, it'll determine what we do on the farm specifically, because that's kind of always our guiding mission, is what's next, what's coming up in the next 2 or 3 levels that I need to prepare for, just like we're talking about getting some chickens so we can start getting some eggs. You know, and I think we've got enough money to definitely get quite a few. So, but one thing at a time, right? We'll worry about, oh, that's right, I'm just turning. I was getting ready to back up and just do a headland, but I already did that. It's an interesting perspective from the top. They almost look like little fans, the canola plants. The way they're, whoops, Don't want to run over my, I think that's the sorghum, if I remember. So, don't want to run into that field. Although, while it's growing, it's really not a problem. So the nice thing is, with precision farming, we're not going to have to fertilize twice. So we're just going to be able to go ahead and get that done. The big question I'm going to have is, I probably do need to lime the field. We'll take a look at what our meter tells us when we go stand in it once we're done here. But enough of that. I think I've chatted with you for a while. Let me focus on this field a bit more and get it wrapped up, and then I'll be back. Alright, I am done with the sorghum field. I did not empty at all. So 9,080 liters is the entire batch. So I'm going to go ahead and get this emptied into the trailer so we can worry about it later, but I'm going to get the other fields fertilized. Looks like I'm a little too far. You know, while it's still nice and bright out, because I'm not as familiar with this farm. You know, I prefer not to be working the fields late, where I think driving a crop to market might be okay. And again, we can only get part of the level 1 order done. We can, you know, the canola part. And again, I only need 2,000, so I do need to determine what I'm really going to do here. More than likely, you know, I may store some of it and then only take 2,000 to the market, but not sure yet. So, in any event, I'm going to get this out of the way. And I'm going to get over and... You know what? I need to actually... Well, I just kind of realized I have to do something anyway, so let me turn this off. This is my trailer to get fertilizer, so... yeah, so I need to go put this in the silo, and then, you know, we'll likely get 2,000 out or whatever it is. So I'm going to go do that, get this stored up at the top of the hill, and I will then head out and get some fertilizer from the store. So I know I'm not going to buy as much of that as I bought the seed, because seed's expensive, but fertilizer is even more expensive. So trying not to dig into the money too much, because we obviously didn't need the level of seeds we had. We're going to have several harvests with those seeds, but I can always buy that stuff later. Alright, I'm going to get about 10,000 liters of fertilizer. I think that'll be a good start. So I had started and stopped it a bit, so there's a couple purchase prices there. Alright, harvester out on the field still, but really not bad. Took us about 20 minutes to get things put away and so forth. So the silo for the solid fertilizer is down around this way. So it's a little bit more of a challenge to get to. You can see it above the building there. I guess we've got that road that goes around, so I'm likely going to have to pull around to get out of here later, because obviously there's not really a way to turn around if I'd like to do that, but we'll get this in the silo so that we can then fill the spreader. So do that. I'm going to go park the trailer again, and I'll be back here with the spreader. At this point, if I kind of keep things put away the way they are, this is kind of the fertilizer shed right now. I did check with the store, and liquid fert is more expensive. So I went ahead, and that's why I decided to do solid fert, if you were wondering about that. So while the spreading width is going to be a little bit less, these aren't massive fields that I'm going to see a big work time difference. So let me get this opened so I can fill it, because obviously otherwise I won't be able to do so. There we go. Now I'm going to stop at about 3,200, because I want to see how much we really need. But the other piece is, it's going to be a little bit of a convoluted thing to empty this and then put it back in the silo. I can't get this, because this doesn't dump. I'd have to empty it onto crates and then come and fill the trailer with it. And obviously that is something I'd prefer not to do. Alright. So we will unfold this. I do need to get the working with. So let me get my GPS established. Alright, so we are all set here. Let's do that. Hopefully the working with works. You can see we need to put 90 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare. So these are again about 1.5 hectare fields, but clearly that's more than 90 liters. So now it's shifting a bit. Alright. We didn't quite get the end of the field. Let's fix that. Although maybe it's just showing it that way on the map because of how it worked. But, you know, as you can see, we're going to make kind of quick work of this. You know, we'll start spreading here. And that'll get most of it. We might actually get this field done in 3 passes, which is pretty nice still. Because I think the spread on this is 12 meters. It might be 18, depending how it's set up. But, you know, it's pretty nice either way. So, whoops, going backwards before I'm starting, or I should stop going backwards before I start to turn. Whoops, I think I need to get the line to go that way. I think I missed it. I think I still had the wheel turned is what had happened. So get ourselves kind of straight, and yes, we will be done. I was thinking we might actually catch part of the other field with this, but we're not. The good news is we probably don't really have to snap the line any differently, but obviously barley will likely have a different requirement than sorghum. And we also don't have as much loamy sand down there, so that may also help. But yeah, at this point, it's not looking like we're going to need anywhere near the 3,000 liters. But I'll tidy that up as well later on. Alright, I just want to... I guess it is. Okay, I think it is actually working. It's just... doesn't seem like it, but it is. Okay, this is actually taking a bit more. So, 110. We're still on loamy sand here, but I think we switch. As you can see the heat map. But that also is more the nitrogen. So yeah, we're really short of nitrogen here. So it's definitely consuming significantly more than we were having. But yeah, now we're on sandy loam instead of loamy sand. Alright, now obviously this is a a bigger field, and it's also configured a little more interestingly, so you know, we're going to have a little bit of a situation as far as we're not going to cover it in 3 passes, so it's not really a situation, but it'll take a little bit more work here. But fertilizing is one of the fastest jobs we can do on the farm. It's definitely nice, and you know what I've always been told by the folks who know about these things is, you know, it's a 23% yield improvement, so it's not something you don't want to do. Whoops. Got hung up on that tree more than I wanted. I've got a little bit here that I didn't get, so we'll swing around and do that. There we go. It's always good having those precision farming pieces of equipment to be able to tell what's happening. Alright, I'm going to run down here because this is pretty tight. Oh, okay, it wasn't deploying because I had already done things. I forgot the precision farming won't spread more than I need, which is, you know, a wonderful thing for conservation, but a confusing thing when you're not used to working a farm with precision farming on it. So I think that'll work. Let me do that, and then that'll help us a little bit here too, because once again it shouldn't over deploy too much. But that way, with the curved field edge, I'm operating a bit more appropriately. Alright, so yeah, as long as the spreader is, we do have to run up a bit more than I normally would, but so we've used more than 1,000 liters, but again, we're probably in a situation. No, I think I'm aligning back to the track I've already gone on. So let me head down this way, and then that'll get us where we need to be. We're not really spreading that much, so I can start just to make sure we get coverage to the edge of the field. So one more pass after this, I think, should get us done. And we will be fully fed with plant food, so that's pretty good stuff. But, and actually, that 23%, now that I think about it, I think is actually for one pass of the old method. So once you're actually, now that we're doing the full thing, yeah, I think we actually get like a 46% yield or something improvement, so almost 50%. Alright, so we needed about half of what we had. Now at this point, let me hop out here, because this isn't telling me anything, because obviously I have nitrogen loaded. If I'm here on the field, yeah, it's telling me my pH value is okay, it's not perfect. We might be able to gain, it looks like, another 4% yield by putting lime on, but at this point I don't think we're going to worry about that, because I don't have any storage for lime. I did verify that. You can go through a lot of that pretty quickly, so just one of those, I'll wait until we get to a bad state, which we may be on the other fields, but I'll just kind of check it field by field and worry about it as it makes sense. So it's possible the barley didn't need a lot, but maybe the sorghum is in worse shape. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and tidy up with this, and then I'll be back. Alright, I'm going to head up to the silo to get the 2,000 liters of canola so that we can get that over to the oil mill, and we'll see how this process works with our VIP orders. Pretty excited. So again, my curiosity is, Is the oil mill going to pay me for the product as well? Or does the oil mill now not pay me for the product? Let me get 2,000 liters. Alright, so there we go. It's hard to get exactly 2,000 liters, as you might imagine, but I figured 2,005 is close enough. So I did take a look on the map I have of the town, or of the area, and the oil mill's a little ways away. It's basically in the opposite corner of the community. So we got a little bit of a way to go, but we'll definitely get there as quick as we can. It is only mid-afternoon. But it'll give us a chance to do a bit of sightseeing as well, and get to see a little bit more of the community, which is excellent. So instead of going right here, we're going to go left. And got the map with me if I need it, so we'll pull it out as necessary. But I think it's pretty straightforward. Again, just remembering to be on the correct side of the road. I'm intentionally avoiding saying right side of the road because, first off, we're on the left side, but you know, for folks in the UK, this is the right side of the road, the correct side. But just because I come from somewhere else doesn't make it any less correct. So I just need to be okay with that. Well, there's definitely a scenic weavy drive. Ooh, 3-story building there. That's pretty big and fancy. There's a few of these fancy houses here. I guess all these farmers are doing pretty well for themselves. I think that's the oil mill up on the hill. I know there's a couple productions over here according to the map. But again, obviously the one we want is the oil mill. That may be the other one. I don't remember what it is offhand. I'm sure one day, if and when we need it, we'll find out. Yeah, actually that may not be the oil mill. I think we need to go this way. Go across the river. Again, be on this side of the road. And there's another farm if someone wanted to work at it, it looks like. It's pretty packed in there. We thought ours was snug. That one certainly looks snug. Well, good news is we're not seeing a lot of traffic here. I think this is the same river that we were at. And yes, that is in fact the oil mill, because it is at the end of the road here. So that's why I said I didn't think we'd need to pull the map up again. But I wasn't sure. So there we go. It looks like we'll just drop it off there. So, natural oils. There we go. Alright, so we are getting money, and you can see the VIP order was 0 canola at the oil mill. It is now green. So at this point, it looks like we just got that portion. Can I go around the building here? I didn't really look. Worried I'm going to get stuck. That's pretty neat how that works. Oh, am I able to? Guess we'll explore. We'll see where this takes us. But yeah, it does give us another way in there. Let's take a quick look at our orders. So there you go. You can see it's now highlighted. We have had requested and delivered that amount. But I know we didn't get paid $15,900 because we're still at under 110,000. We would have been above that otherwise. So the other thing I forgot to mention when I woke up this morning is, I know we've got a pretty big farm, and as one might expect with all of that, there are some significant maintenance costs. So you may have noticed that our costs had gone down by quite a bit when we woke up in the morning, because we have like $7,500 of maintenance costs a month on the farm. So that's an important thing to be aware of, because that's going to chew up our funds pretty quickly if we're not doing a lot. So with that in mind, we are going to get ready for the upcoming VIP orders of eggs. And before I finish up today, we are going to get ourselves some chickens. And I'm going to buy adult chickens, which cost a little more. Well, cost quite a bit more, frankly, but otherwise we've got to wait 6 months before they can even begin to lay eggs. And I don't know that we have that opportunity at this point. And we cannot bring chickens to the farm ourselves. We're not able to transport them, which is kind of funny, because when you talk to the animal dealer, they mention, hey, if you've got ways to transport things, you won't pay us a transport fee, but there's no way to haul chickens, so we don't really have a choice. So we are going to have to pay the transport fee to have them here. It's just a question of how many chickens do we want. And in our case, we have definitely answered the question, which came first, the chicken or the egg? The chicken, clearly, because I need eggs, and I'm obviously getting chickens first. So in our case, that's how we're going to answer that question. But yeah, I might get out there and bale things up. I'm just not certain I want to do that. I do not have storage right now on the farm. I've got a couple options that I've talked to some folks about for some potential additional silos that'll do that, but I'm not sure that that makes sense at this point, because as we said, we've got a lot of outlays coming up, not the least of which are chickens. So we're going to need this shortly to go get the wheat, but until we get some chickens in there, we're not going to know exactly what we need. So it's going to cost a bit, but as they say, you've got to spend money to make money sometimes. And I don't think we can afford to wait 6 months. So I'm going to go ahead. I think I'm going to get 300. All right, so we've got 300 chickens. Pretty nice little space for them here on the hill. I like it. We obviously haven't fed them yet, so we have no grain. But we can see they're going to do health and reproduction, and I certainly would rather get free chickens, which will happen via breeding, than pay for more. But I want to make sure we have enough that I can get some egg production going, because otherwise, again, that's kind of the point of the exercise, is it not? We can sell chickens for meat, I suppose, but don't think that's the goal right now. And at this point, those chickens are only worth $10. Now, maybe once their health gets better and they're fed, that'll change. So we'll see. Maybe, at some point, we'll also start selling chickens off. Once we max out at the 900 chickens, but we're also going to see that could be a lot of eggs coming out of there. Don't know how fast 900 chickens are going to produce eggs. I'm just going to go ahead and put all the wheat in here. I don't know how much we need, but if it'll take it all, I guess. I guess I'll put it in there, because that will then help me know what I need to do from the crop standpoint. Because obviously now, once I pick up that straw, I've got 2 fields that I can put back into some sort of production again. But that's, again, for a little bit later time, because we've got straw to get up on the one field, and as late as it is today, I think, again, we've had a pretty productive day. So I don't want to push things too far. It's a tight farmyard, certainly, but not impossible to deal with. I think it works pretty well. It was a bit of a challenge to park the spreader back in, but it is going to take it all. Wow. Wow. 15,000 liters of grain, and we barely made a dent. We need wheat to produce eggs and wheat. So I think we've just determined we're planting a lot of wheat. To end the day, I'm going to take the cloths and grab the baler. As you might imagine, the baler needs a little bit of get up and go, but this will be enough. Some of the other tractors on the farm are not. Our Valtra that is up near it is actually too small for it, which is kind of interesting that it's parked in the shed next to it, but what's one going to do? That's where we got it. Oh, I have to unfold the cultivator to put it down. Interesting. Because I know, like, a lizard subsoiler can be folded and left that way, but clearly not the cultivator. So we're going to head out here with this pottinger. And this thing will do variable size round bales, I believe. And at this point, since I'm not selling them to anything specifically, I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and go with the largest size, because why not? I may regret it later when I try to take them somewhere, but we've got some pretty hefty machines with bale spikes, and at this point, I'm just kind of storing this straw. It's extra stuff, and, you know, maybe I'll take it for sale, make some extra cash. Not sure yet. So I noticed on my control panel, I was really surprised, because one of the reasons I don't like round balers in the past was that they don't unload. But this one does have an automatic drop, so I've turned that on. We're making 180 centimeter bale. The smallest we could have made is 125 centimeters. But, like I said, right now it's all about go big or go home, I guess. We did that with the chickens. We're now doing it with the bales. So we'll collect that and clean that up later. Right now, let's see, I'm probably, I got most of that, but there's always cleanup that you're doing when you're doing baling. Have you ever noticed that? I try to get one of these done, because I'm curious. Wow, these are big. I may regret this. I may suddenly find I have nothing that can pick this up. Now, wouldn't I be the fool at that point if that's what happens? The answer to that, in case you're wondering, is yes. Because I obviously could have just kept it simple and kept it small, but I don't like picking things up. It's not that I'm lazy, I just don't like picking things up, because it's awkward and difficult. So the fewer bales I have to pick up, the better. Now, the question I have, I guess I'll only know by going, but yes, it does stop picking up material when it's unloading. So I do need to be aware of that. I also need to be aware that we are on a hill, and I'm a fool who left a harvester parked in the middle of the field as well. Alright, let me get this harvester off the field here. I won't necessarily put everything away, connect it up to the trailer, and then we will be set for that. I'm going to go ahead and get these bales done now that I can actually get all the way around the field. And then we'll get them collected, or, well, I may leave them here today, collect them another day. It's already getting kind of late, but I'll finish this up and I'll see where we're at the end. Alright, so we've got 5 bales on the field, plus another 2/3 of a bale in the baler. But again, we can hold on to that kind of stuff. And because the baler's just doing that, we don't have the ability to do, say, silage or anything like that in this that I can see. So we will simply store it away, and next time we have some straw, which will obviously be probably after we harvest again, since it looks like we're going to do a lot of wheat. So we'll just replant those fields in wheat, maybe as early as tomorrow, and you know, we'll keep that moving along. See, at this point I can close all these because I've got all the trailers out and about in the yard, which is fine. They can be outdoors. Just thinking if there's anything else I need to do or can do. Did decide to just take a quick look at the chickens, and it looks like we're starting to move along. Productivity and health are already at 20%, just a few hours after getting some and feeding them. You know, we're still at over 15,000 liters, and we've already got 26 eggs. Now again, the key is pieces aren't liters, so there is that challenge. I'm not quite sure what 7,000 liters of eggs looks like. It's 65 kilograms, which I can still pick up, but 26 eggs, which is 65 kilograms, doesn't tell me how many liters. I think that was a problem too that we never had before as well, and I think it was just as hard to tell in FS19, although I do think instead of kilograms it did have liters. But obviously as we take it and deliver it where we need to next time, we will worry about that. Alright, so it looks like the sorghum field's actually a little bit ahead on the growth. It was planted, you know, just a few hours ahead, but it appears that's how things are running. Alright, yeah, there's clearly no crop here on the field, but on the map it almost looks like it's telling us ready to harvest, so that is a little interesting. So at this point I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to get this put away tonight, and I'm going to take a well-deserved rest. We're, you know, coming up on 5 o'clock. A little bit of a short day for a farmer, but certainly still a full day. I'm sure we'll have other days, just like yesterday, that we've got to go a little bit longer. So we'll take the early rest, and I'll go put my feet up, and I will see you next time.